Hi there, this is Craig. This is another mindfulness video. This is about the great awareness. Now, the great awareness is the opposite to a previous video I did called the great distraction. So, when we're living our lives, we're either in distraction or we're in awareness. Um, Distraction is thoughts, thinking about things that aren't here now in the present moment. Awareness is what is here now in the present moment. There's your two options. Um, so, the great distraction, just as a reminder, is when we're caught up in storylines and fantasies and imagination and memory, and we're obscuring what is here now with our opinions, our stories, what we think should happen, what we don't like, what we wish was different. All of these things are thoughts. Thoughts, mind, is a distraction from what is here, right now. So awareness is actually always here. There is always the now, this eternal now. And you could call it a kind of flow, if you like. If you're in the flow, and I've put water as a background here, if you're in the flow, then you're in the moment and you're traveling through the moment by moment by moment by moment. If you're aware of each moment, then there's really no sense of time, particularly. Time only comes in when you start to think a bit further ahead or you're reminded of things that have already happened. So, time is thought related, awareness is now related, awareness is flow related. So, whether we're aware or not, we are in what's called the great awareness, the great now, the eternal now. We just may not appreciate what we're seeing in front of us. We may not be looking deeply at what's in front of us. We may be obscuring what's in front of us with our thoughts, our ideas, our storylines, etc. So that is basically what this video is about. Now, we think of ourselves as a person, as a separate kind of entity, if you like, to the world. A lot of people think we're a person living in the universe or a person living in the world. Whereas maybe it's more truer to say the universe is living through a person, or the universe is living through a tree, or the universe is living through water, or the universe is living through forms, shapes, of which human is one shape. So if you kind of turn it a little bit on its head, and instead of thinking of yourself as a separate I, and this is where we get into things like the ego, where I am thinking that I am separate, I am different to you, I am a unique being. This is all very well, but underneath all of that ego and I-ness is awareness. Awareness is already there. It's the space that contains everything. It's this oneness that we talk about. This is the non-duality aspect of life, is that everything is interconnected, everything is interbeing with everything else. I cannot exist as a separate entity because I'm breathing in air. Air is out here, not part of this body, but I need it in order to live. Similarly, I've got water in me. I've got many non-human elements in me. Now, without water, there would be no life. Without trees, there would be no life. Without plants, there would be no life. Without the sun, there would be no life. So all of these things are created and moving and flowing all together seamlessly in order for me to be able to sit here, right now, to talk to you on a video. It's quite an amazing thing when you start to think about it. So it's kind of trying to enter the awareness, because awareness is always present. It's the space. You need a container in order to put forms in. shapes in. It's like a physical room. When there's a empty room, there's space to put things in. If the room is so full, then there's no space. And this can be a kind of metaphor for when we're thinking too much. If we're overthinking, there's no space. There's too much up here, too much constantly thinking of this, constantly thinking of that. We're distracted. The space is still there underneath, but we're not seeing that. We're not able to see the flow, see the transition of movement using impermanence. Things are changing all the time. Things are flowing all the time, but sometimes we get stuck. We're like, I want it to be this way, or I want it to be that way, or I don't like what's stuck here. I want this to change. And this mind is constantly trying to solve and analyze and fix what you're seeing. Whereas another way is to come into the great awareness, is to come into the awareness of now and just watch, just observe what is happening now, without judgment, without criticism, without commentary, without opinion. You are just here now with what is. And how can that help you? Well, there isn't really a you. There's just this mind that says you're separate. But if you're sitting here now, watching this video, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And this is where things can help, because if you're sitting there now, up here, going, oh, I'm not sure I like this. This is nonsense. Don't like this video. Why am I even here? Fed up. I've got problems later. I've had problems earlier. Sitting here is not going to help me solve any of that. That's mind. That's your ego self. That's your separate sense of self, your separate identity, if you like. I'm Craig and I have all these problems. But when you sit in awareness, all of that kind of goes. And you're present and you're here now, connected to everything that's happening here and now. And that can be incredibly healing, just to try to sit and just observe, taking the foot off the pedal, letting your mind rest. Your mind doesn't need to be thinking about all of these things all the time. What it needs actually is a bit of space, a bit of awareness, because then you'll have spaces between your thoughts rather than a constant stream of them. And those gaps will give you healing. They will give you moments of awe and reverence and peace and tranquility. Just looking at a lake like this that's in the picture here, if you're just observing that lake, not trying to fix it, you're not trying to throw pebbles into it, you're not trying to create ripples, you're not trying to do anything, you're just watching that lake, you'll see movement. The water is moving. There may be a fish jumps up and down. Maybe you'll see something else happening. A bird will fly across. Looking at a landscape like this, you're going to see movement. That is the flow of life. And you are just engaging with that flow. You're not thinking of yourself as a separate being. You're not sitting there on that lake going, oh, I want this to be different. I wish it was sunny. I'm so fed up with things, because this is up here and that's the distraction, you see? And that's taking you away from what is in front of you, which is a lake. But when you're sitting with the lake, after a little while, something seems to happen. There's a kind of a peacefulness enters your body, a serenity, perhaps. You feel more at ease with things. All of a sudden, all of these mind chatting things that are going on kind of settles. There's a quietness. And in that quietness, in that space, is awareness, the great awareness. And that awareness, if you allow it to just observe, it will take care of you. It will take care of your problems. It will take care of everything. But what we have to do is to come out of here and into here. You could say it's your heart space. Many people call it the heart chakra or the heart center. When you're in being, that's where you are. You're in your heart. Now, heart is associated with love and kindness and compassion. So this up here is more about fixing and solving and resolving issues. But when you come to sit, you realize that most of the things up here are they're not even real. They're just illusory, anxious opinions and criticisms. They're not of the reality of this moment. This moment is the truth. What's going on right now is this moment. Awareness points you to the truth. Up here, not truth. It's opinion. You know, if I'm sitting here going, I hate my life, that's an opinion. But if I catch the thought, I hate my life with awareness, then awareness is just watching that. It's not joining that thought at all. It's not believing that thought at all. It's just observing it. I hate my life. Interesting thought. And when awareness watches things, there's a flow. So that thought will dissolve and move on if you're just watching it in the flow. If you're not in flow, if you're distracted because you believe that thought that says you hate your life, then you're no longer seeing the lake, you're no longer seeing life, and you're caught up in the content of this thought that actually, with awareness, will just come and go. So the real you is awareness. And actually, if you can sit and just observe what is coming moment by moment, in this moment, there's a thought that says, I hate my life. Just watch, it will go away. Here comes another thought saying, I'm hungry. I've got a rumbly tummy to prove it. Okay, hunger is here. I'll go and do something about that, you know. So you can obviously do things. I'm not saying sit and observe and do absolutely nothing in your life. Your life is full of things that are going on. It's full of activity. It's full of people. It's full of situations, full of journeys, full of little lessons. But what we do is if we hit a barrier, if we feel like we're anxious or we're depressed or we're sad or we're grouchy or we're feeling heavy in our body or we're feeling tense or we've got headaches going on, whatever's going on, the key then is to move from you're probably up here thinking it too much, come into awareness. The great awareness is always there, always present. It's your real self. Come into it. Be. And watch all of these things settle. Watch all of these things dissolve even. Things can transform and move and flow and change just by you observing it. You don't actually need to have an intention to do anything, to solve anything, to try and be more mindful. You know, that's another thought. I must be more mindful today. It's another thought, and it's put you into the future. Come back to just what is. That is it. It's very, very simple. We can all do it because we all know how to be aware. Awareness is already here. I know how my hands are feeling right now. Awareness. I know I'm sitting on a chair. Awareness. I can hear pretty quiet here. I can hear quietness. I can see my face on this screen. My face, but you know, I can see me. I can see the lake picture. That's what's going on now. So if I'm focusing on now, there's not really a problem in the now. There's no anxiety. There's no depression. It's just observation, you know. Interestingly, the observation can often bring a sense of happiness, a sense of joy. People who meditate a lot tend to find inner bliss. There's a blissfulness to the awareness, to the quality of awareness. And awareness is always present to dip into. We just forget that we're awareness. We think we're a separate mind, distracted. I must, I need, I haven't got everything I need. I'm not whole and complete. I have things to do. I'm worried about that person over there. I can't believe that person over there is doing that. How do I solve that? And you're over up here too much. You have to come into here and just be and hold with awareness. Awareness is kind of kind. It's kind of compassionate because it doesn't judge anything. It just watches. That's what to do. You just watch. Like, I'm watching that I'm feeling depressed. I'm watching my anxiety. I'm watching that I'm comparing myself to that person. I'm watching that that person's annoyed me. I'm watching annoyance. Annoyance. I'm just going to sit. Annoyance is the lake. I'm just going to watch annoyance. Movement, ripples, flow. Annoyance is gone. That's what happens. So, whenever you can, come back to your being. Your being is awareness. Awareness is already here. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to effort. All you need to do is come out of here and into here. Heart center, not mind center, heart center. Too much mind, you're going to struggle. You're going to have body problems. You're going to have emotional problems. You're going to not be able to sleep very well. There's going to be all sorts of stuff going on in your life because you're up here. And what's going on up here is a lower vibration to what's going on here. So you could call this 3-dimensional thinking, that you're separate. 5-dimensional thinking is knowing that you're part of awareness, the great awareness, and you're vibrating with the energy of awareness, the energy of the universe. You're on fire. You know, you're there's nothing gonna stop you. Nothing out there should disturb what you feel in here. And if it does, it's because you're thinking about it. You're judging it, you're criticizing it, you're confronting it. So I hope this has been a useful little video. Come back to your awareness all the time. Don't worry about me being awareness or me being a separate self or all the rest of it. It comes intuitively after a while. Just be in the now. Be here now, and you will understand. But you have to be earnest about being in the now. It's kind of a practice. It's very easy for us to get caught up in our habit of thinking, our habit energy. We wake up in the morning, we're up here probably. Must do this, must do that, got all that to do, hate that, fed up with this. Come away. Walk mindfully. Mindfulness is the coming away from here to here. So mindfully, you're like, yep, I'm aware of my footsteps. I'm aware that I'm feeling something. I'm aware that I'm thinking something. I'm just going to watch. Just going to watch. Watch what happens. Everything's moving. Everything's moving. Most of your problems go away. So try it and see how it goes for you. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I will speak to you again in another one sometime soon. So I hope you're having a wonderful day, and bye just now.